Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Ooh, lucky bastard.
Are you being sarcastic or something, Martin?
Fool, you should never mix your drinks.
What, are you retarded?
We'll have to take this abuse much longer.
You're a fool! You're a fool! You're a fool!
Oh, that's what we call diarrhea.
You think this is a fucking joke? This ain't Kenny camera. There's no hidden cameras.
Oh shit, I've said fuck. Oh fuck, I've said shit.
Don't be an arse. Get a weapon collector, arse.
I could knock him out in the shed.
Are you kidding me? That is crazy.
I want a katana, a pistol, a shotgun, a machine gun.
Stop it, please. For God's sake, please stop it. There's no more time.
Is this not why you are here?
Right, everyone, WeaponCollector here. Right, I thought I'd do a DVD collection video. It's been a couple of years. It might have only been a year. But this time I thought I'd do a quite extensive sort of discussion video on some of the films. So in a minute, I'll show you all of my DVDs, just a quick glance, and then I'm going to get all of the categories down, put them on a shelf next to me, and I can actually talk about maybe not all of the films, but all of the ones that are of significance to me. Because some are just stuff I bought and I like. Some of them, you know, have quite a meaning to me. So I've got quite a few different categories. And yeah, let's just get down to it. Oh, and this video may be very long, as in, you know, 2 or 3 hours long potentially, maybe more. Alright, let's get down to it. So this will just be a quick whip through of what I've got. So this is most of my westerns. Here are most of my horror franchises, I'd say. There's quite a few here. These are anything I've got multiples of. These are my Stephen King films and zombie films. These ones at the top are all pretty much horrors, and they are sort of dated from right to left, but they're out of order at the minute. Up here we have horror, sci-fi, John Carpenter films, historical films, fantasy films, and some Asian films there that include horror, thrillers, stuff like that. All of these ones at the top here are all TV related, so they're either TV series, films based on TV series, and stuff like that. That is what all of those are. This entire rack is all gangster films or gang films and sort of related gangster type stuff. Up the top here are my comedy films, stand-up comedies, some war films, crime dramas, stuff like that, and some stuff that's more difficult to put into categories. And then at the end there are just some that I bought recently. And I also have a drawer here of sort of random stuff that could be put in different categories. I just haven't got around to it yet. Some David Lynch stuff there as well. So all of this will all be got out and we'll speak about it. And just here are some of the Blu-rays I bought. I don't own a lot of Blu-rays, that's all I've really ever bought. I only really buy Blu-rays if it's something I really want, or it's just cheaper to buy on Blu-ray sometimes. And this is some of the new stuff I've bought recently. Some of it I bought over a year ago. Fifth Element I have actually watched recently. I don't know why that's down. But yeah, some of these... I have seen some of these films, but some I've just bought new recently so that I can watch and own. Right, the rest of this video is going to be done like a live stream, so there's going to be no cutting in it, hopefully, apart from each section. So I'm going to go on to the westerns first. So I'll show you what's probably my favourite western and one of my favourite films, which is Once Upon a Time in the West. This is a special edition, I think, yeah, special collector's edition. Pretty sure you get a couple of discs in there. What do you get? Yeah, 2 discs and a little booklet. Sergio Leone, spaghetti western, excellent film. Ennio Morricone music. Yeah, really good. It was probably the peak of his filmmaking, in my opinion, definitely the westerns. I am a big fan of Sergio Leone, and in particularly his westerns. I've got, for a few dollars, fistful of dollars, few dollars more, Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Once Upon a Time in the West. They all have Ennio Morricone music in them. This one stars Charles Bronson and Henry Fonda, amongst others, and the other ones predominantly star Clint Eastwood. I've never got round to buying the other one, which is A Fistful of Dynamite, I think, or also known as Duck You Sucker or something like that, or that may be even like the subtitle of it. Yeah, I've seen that once. For some reason, out of all of his films, that doesn't really do a lot for me, that one. I don't know why. You're going to have to excuse the dogs. Yeah. I'm going to just have to carry on with barking. So, yeah, definitely one of my favourite all-time films, that. I don't know what to say about that, other than, when it comes to Sergio Leone films, if you like Sergio Leone, there are some other directors you will like who are heavily influenced by Sergio Leone. The two off the top of my head that I know are John Carpenter and Quentin Tarantino. So if you like their stuff, or you like his stuff, you will like both of them. All of them, I mean, because, yeah, they are heavily influenced by Sergio Leone. Yeah, I would highly recommend any of the Sergio Leone films. I can't remember what the other films he's done. He's only ever done 7 films, I think. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. 5 will be Fistful of Dynamite. 6 would be Once Upon a Time in America, which I own. And there may be one other one, and I know he did a film called The Colossus of Rhodes. Yeah, he didn't actually do a lot of films, and I would say all of the films he did do are absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that's my Sergio Leone westerns there. We'll go on to some of the Clint Eastwood ones now. I don't own as many Clint Eastwood DVDs westerns as I would like to. There are quite a few I've never got around to buying yet. But I do have Pale Rider, which is really good. Outlaw Josie Wales, I would say, would be in my top 10 westerns as well. Absolutely brilliant film. Well worth checking out. And again, Unforgiven. I've always liked the Clint Eastwood westerns. Yeah, young Clint Eastwood, old Clint Eastwood, you know, just as good to me. I say that because, and I'll get to it in a minute, I'm not a massive fan of young John Wayne. I prefer the older John Wayne films, you know, when he's older. I don't know why. But yeah, Unforgiven's great. What other Clint Eastwood ones have I got? But yeah, I'm probably missing more than you'd expect from the Clint Eastwood ones. Let's go on to some of the John Wayne ones. What have we got? So I'll go over True Grit in a minute. So we've got Rio Bravo. That's pretty good. That one is a bit of an influence on John Carpenter as well. So Rio Bravo, Big Jake, quite like that. What else? The Searchers. Now that is very good. If you've never seen The Searchers, that's well worth watching. That's a younger John Wayne. That's probably about. I don't know. But yeah, he's very good in that, and I like the story of. I just like the progression of the story, because if you don't know, in The Searchers, basically at the beginning of the film, I think it's his brother and his missus and their children, most of them are killed by Indians, and him and the girl's brother, I think, go searching for the daughter, because she was kidnapped. The rest of the family were killed, but the daughter was kidnapped, and they go searching for the little girl. They're searching for her for, I think, 6 years. He periodically coming back home for a little bit, then going back out. Yeah, 6 years on the road, sort of searching for this girl, and it's how his opinions on things change is very interesting, because at first he's out there to try and save her, and then he realises that she's been living with them for so long that she now might be one of them. So then that makes him start thinking of different recourses. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but really good emotional film, that one. Yeah, really like that. Big Jake's good. Big Jake is I can't remember the premise to that one, but I know it's I would say it's a little bit like The Outlaw Josie Wells, where he's got a lot of stragglers with him, including a dog. But I can't remember the main premise to that one now. What else we got in regards to... Oh, and then Rio Lobo. Rio Lobo, I bought that cheap. I didn't really think much of that one. And then we've got True Grit and the remake of True Grit. Now, occasionally there are remakes that are as good or better than the originals. It's normally because the original ones are very old, very basic, and the new ones are just more modern and they can do better special effects. And that's not really the case with a Western, because I think Westerns, because they're set in a time, are often timeless anyway. But I would say these two are on par with each other for how good they are. Really like the original one. Again, really good film. Good story, good sort of revenge-based bit to it, if you know what I mean. Trying to find the bloke who killed her father. But they're both based on books as well, which I think makes a slight difference. You can make multiple films based on a book, and they're not technically remakes of a film, are they? They are just a film based on a book. So, yeah, I think that changes things slightly. But yes, the Coen Brothers Jeff Bridges one, fucking amazing as well. Really, really good. But yeah, if you ever want to watch True Grit, definitely watch them both, because they are both really, really worth watching. Yeah, absolutely love both of those, and I'll say they are on par with each other, which is quite rare. So that's those. I think that pile in the middle has all been mentioned. What have we got here? So, Charto's Land with Charles Bronson. I've never actually watched that. I've had that for years and years and years, never got around to watching it. It looks a bit odd to me, but I bought it because I'm a fan of Charles Bronson. The Wild Bunch, that is Sam Peckinpah. Again, a very good director. I don't own as many Sam Peckinpah films as I should. I can't remember what else he's done, but he has done some great stuff. Yeah. If you've never seen The Wild Bunch, that I would say that is that's a must watch for a Western fan. Especially the more gritty stuff. As you can tell with most of these, I prefer the grittier sort of Westerns. I don't like the old 40s and 50s Westerns, especially the Hollywood Westerns. They don't do anything for me. Yeah, definitely like the grittier, more violent ones, which that definitely is. There's the beginning of that is a massive shootout where loads of them are just getting shot to shit. It's amazing. Yeah, and this was this was an early film of a lot of blood splattering out, like you see in things like Planet Terror. Imagine like the Planet Terror bloodshot. That's what they do in there. Slow-mo, fucked up bloodshot shooting at people. Django Unchained, yeah, quite like that. I bought that more out of principle because I do like Quentin Tarantino. I do like owning his films. That's not his best one, and he's done a better Western than that, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, I do. Don't get me wrong, I do like Django Unchained, but it wouldn't be in my top 10 Westerns. The Revenant, that's pretty good. I do like that. Only watched it once. Did enjoy it. I don't know if is that based on a book or a true story. I can't remember. I don't really know a lot about that one. Who directed that? No, I can't see. But yeah, that's worth watching though. Cowboys vs Aliens. Not really much to say about that. I did enjoy it though when I watched it, but I think I have only watched it twice. So yeah, and we've still got some here to go. Walker, right? I don't know many people who even know of this film. Now, I only know about this film because I remember as a teenager in the 90s watching a thing called Videodrome with Alex Cox. And I always liked his reviews on films. Probably some of the best film reviews you'd ever see. and not like the sort of I can't think of the word, but you know, like the Jonathan Ross type movie shows, not like that kind of crap. This was more grittier, sort of cult sort of stuff. Anyway, Videodrome was presented by a bloke called Alex Cox, an English bloke. I think he was English. If he wasn't English, he's British anyway. And he directed this. He also directed the film Repo Man and Repo Girl, I think it's called, and maybe a couple of others, but I'm not sure. But he directed this. This is actually classed as an acid western. Very strange in that it is set in Western times with a Western story, but you will then suddenly see people driving jeeps or using machine guns and stuff like that, and it's not due to lack of props and stuff like that or mistakes. It's all deliberate. Yeah, it's an acid western, it's called. So yeah, you'll see guns that shouldn't be there, vehicles that shouldn't. I think there's a helicopter in it at one point. But yeah, so I'll definitely recommend that because it's very odd. It's very odd and different. Yeah, Ed Harris. Yeah, Ed Harris is good. You gotta like Ed Harris. It was hard to find this on DVD. I had to get a foreign DVD copy. So yeah, Walker was well worth watching. Very, very different. Also, if anyone has any recommendations for westerns, please let me know. And just because this is what I've got doesn't mean that's all I've seen. I did used to have a lot of films on a hard drive, and I have seen a lot of westerns. It's just some of them I don't own because they're either hard to find or expensive. Because when I used to work, I used to probably spend at least £100 a week on DVDs. But this was back in, that sounds a lot, this was back in the days when a brand new DVD would probably cost you a tenner. And I used to refuse to buy second-hand DVDs. I'm perfectly happy buying second-hand DVDs now. But yeah, at one point I would only buy brand new DVDs. So they would cost at least a tenner each. But yeah, I'd buy about £100 worth a week. So let's get on to this last little pile, shall we? So this, I suppose, isn't really a western. I don't know. If a western is set in America, then it's not a western. But it is what I'd class a Australian western. The Proposition, starring Guy Pearce and Ray Winston. Yeah, if you've never seen that, I don't really know a lot about that one. But, yeah, very good. Tartan as well. Most of the Tartan stuff's usually quite good. Yeah, but sadly I couldn't really tell you a lot about. I've just seen that says something about Nick Cave there. A screenplay by Nick Cave. He's a musician, isn't he? So, Proposition, well worth watching. The Missing, I don't really have a lot to say about that. I've watched it a couple of times, and to be honest, I found it slightly boring, and I don't think it should be. It's a Ron Howard film. Maybe it's just Ron Howard's directing. I don't know. But yeah, The Missing, I don't know. I did sort of enjoy it, but I don't really know. Maybe I'll have to watch that one again. Then we've got here Robert Rodriguez's El Mariachi trilogy, or whatever they like to call them. So El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And they're a good little fun thing to watch. Robert Rodriguez's stuff is fun. It's got some great weapons in it. Antonio Banderas is good in them. Salma Hayek is even better. Yeah, I think that's a good little trilogy to watch. So the order of that would be El Mariachi, Desperado, and then Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Got Danny Trejo in it. Cheech Marin. Yeah, I do like them. They're good fun. They are a good bit of violence. This isn't traditionally a western, really, but it sort of is. There Will Be Blood. I think that is based on a book. Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis, amazing in this film. He is really good. This is one of those. It's quite a long film, but weird. I don't find it boring at all. I think it's visually nice and it has some very good music. Just a shame it had such a shitty DVD box. It's all squashed now, but yeah. Not really a western, but I suppose it sort of is. Set in that era, I suppose, or that area at least. Ravenous. Guy Pearce again, Robert Carlyle. Not sure who directed it. Antonia Bard. I know that the music was partly done by Damon Albarn. Very, very good music in this. I actually bought the soundtrack on CD years ago. Highly recommended. About, see, the thing is, I don't like spoil. I'd rather tell you more about them than tell you the plot and spoil it for you. But if I say it's good, it's, you know, and you believe my opinion, then it's good. But I don't know anyone who's ever watched that and said it was shit. Put it that way. Yeah. I'll read the back to you. It's a recipe for non-stop action and excitement when inhabitants of an isolated military outpost go up against a marauding band of cannibals in a deadly struggle for survival. And that doesn't describe it properly at all. Yeah, it's a lot better than that. That made it sound weird. Audio commentary, 3 audio commentaries. I think I may have listened to one of the audio commentaries on this. But yeah, there's a good lot on the DVD there. So the last 2 for westerns. The Great Silence, I bought that because I was looking into spaghetti westerns and what were some of the best spaghetti westerns. This was one of the ones that was recommended. I thought it was okay. It's odd. I would say it's worth watching because it's weird and different. There will be things in this that you will not see in other films, basically. Yeah. It's a weird one. That's all I can say, really. Klaus Kinski, or however you pronounce his name, Frank Wolf. Yeah. There's some good actors in that. And then lastly, for the westerns, apart from one that's in my Blu-ray collection, which I'll show you later, is Jeremiah Johnson. This would be in my top 5 westerns, 100%. Based on a bloke that really did exist, and to be honest, the real bloke was probably more mental than the actual character in this film. Jeremiah Johnson's basically a bloke who decided he wanted, in this anyway, wanted to go and live up in the mountains and spend his time like that. And then shows the progression of his life, going up there somewhere he doesn't really know what he's doing, to becoming a legendary mountain man and notorious sort of Indian killer. The original bloke was called Liver Eating Johnson, because supposedly he used to scalp them and eat their livers. Yeah, so he indulged in cannibalism. That doesn't happen in this, but yeah, this is a poignant, fun film. Yeah, it's sad. It's got some good action in it as well. For a PG, there's some good violence in this. Yeah, I would highly recommend that. And anyone who's into sort of traditional prepping and survival as well, I think you'd like it, because there's trapping stuff in it, stuff like that. Yeah, but it is quite amazing that it is based on a bloke who really did exist and was completely mental. Yeah. So that is my westerns. Let's move on to the horror franchises, because I've got a lot of horror films, but the ones down there are the ones I've got multiples of, as in sequels. Alright, we're going to that now. Right, so what I have here are most of the film franchises that I have a lot of, when it comes to horrors anyway. So there will be others where I may have 1 or 2 of them, but these are, yeah, most of the films, not all of them though. So we've got some of the Child's Play films here. The first Child's Play film I really like. The rest of them I would say, I don't know, the first, I can't remember how much, 2 I think was pretty good. I like all the ones with Andy Barclay in anyway, especially when he was. So, right, the reason I like the first one is I genuinely think it is verging on harrowing for how horrible it is. When you think about poor little Andy Barclay as a child, with no parent, the parents don't believe him, and he's being, stalked and bloody that is trying to kill you. Yeah, it's quite horrendous if you take it from the child's perspective, I think Andy is in the first 3 and in one of the later ones. And then you get the Bride of Chucky ones, and you know they're not bad. They're fun to watch, but they start to go a bit mental. And I think I have seen all of them. One thing I would not watch though, I watched the first, I think, 3 minutes of that new Child's Play remake, and I turned it off. Utterly fucking ridiculous and bollocks. So, and I know you could say the same thing about Child's Play and that, but it's more believable, in my opinion. Well, let me explain it, because it's a little bit hard to explain. In Child's Play, Charles Lee Ray uses a sort of voodoo sort of thing to take his spirit out of his body while he's dying, put it into a doll. And that's not realistic at all, but it's completely explained, and you know you can go with it because it's sort of fantasy and not reality. Okay. In the Child's Play remake, because I don't believe this would ever be a thing ever. At the beginning of the film, there's a bloke building the dolls, and he opens, and I think he's getting fired or something. He opens up the back of the doll and turns this switch that basically turns the doll from sort of a neutral sort of personality to a dangerous killing sort of personality. Basically turned a kill switch on it. On a child, why would a child doll have a kill switch on it? Or, you know, as in a killing people switch. That would never even be a thing. And that is such a fucking cop-out, I think, in my opinion. Use your imagination, come up with something better than that. Because there are no toys that exist that have a switch on it to stop them killing people. Because you just wouldn't have the switch on there in the first place, would you? I know, but... So that's the Child's Play films I own. I don't own them all. I had the rest of them on my hard drive, but I lost all that, sadly. I'll put those ones up there for now. Here I have got some of the Paranormal Activity films, 4 of them. I recently watched the new one, which I think is potentially the 7th one. The first Paranormal Activity film, very good. I really like that. There's also a knockoff of this called Paranormal Entity, which is a pretty good film. Yeah, so I really did like that one. It showed just the right amount of stuff, which is nothing. As in, you don't see any ghosts or anything like that. I much prefer, if you're going to do found footage with ghosts, don't show the ghost. Because as soon as I see that, it's never as good as what I imagine. And I think it's a lot more scary. Once you see something, you know what you're dealing with, how to fight it, how to avoid it. If you can't see something and you don't know where it is, you can't fight it, you can't avoid it, you don't know where it is. That was very good. I really did enjoy Paranormal Activity 2. First one, sorry. The rest of them, they sort of peter off as they go, but I like the found footage concept of those films, and I would probably buy the rest of those. Ghoulies 1 and 2. Been a long time since I've seen these, and I actually can't remember the plot to them, and I don't really know a lot about them. I know they are mid-80s film. I remember them being alright, but I literally cannot remember the plot. So yeah, but I've got the first 2 of those. And then we've got the Ring remakes here. I did have quite a few of the original Asian Ring films, you know. But yeah, I don't have them on DVD anyway. I'm just looking up there because that's where my Asian sort of DVDs are. Yeah, they're good. Don't really need a remake of The Ring, but if you want an English language version, they do exist. And I think, as far as I remember, the plots are ever so slightly different in possibly the second one anyway. But yeah, they definitely managed to keep the the atmosphere. Yeah, they definitely did manage to retain the atmosphere of the originals. But I do want to buy the original ones. It's just I had them all on download and maybe on VHS. Actually, saying that. Yeah, well, there's the rings anyway. Is there any more than that? I think there are a couple more, aren't there? Yeah, because isn't there one that's all based online? I have got here most of the Saw films. Now, again, these are a bit like Paranormal Activity, that they get a bit worse as they go along. First one's brilliant. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I do like them. Spiral was pretty good. Isn't there another one as well now? Or is that all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 there, I think. But yeah, I do like the Saw films for what they are. And as they get further on, they do start to become sort of gore porn. But I like that kind of stuff. I do like extreme gore. And I do like the puzzles. They do maintain the puzzles and all that still. And they are still quite clever as they go along. But they do get a bit mental. Yeah, there is a new one, isn't there? Yeah, there is. Yeah, I've heard some people say it's shit. Some people say it's alright. So I'll definitely give it a go and I'll buy it because I want to complete my Saw collection. But yeah, I do like the Saws. I do like them. Maniac Cop 1 and 2. I don't know a lot of people have seen those. These are 1980s horrors. There's a third one actually. The first one's the best. The second one's pretty good. About basically there is a policeman going around killing innocent people. And multiple police officers become suspects. Bruce Campbell's in it. I don't know if you can see him there. Bruce Campbell's in it. And what's his name from Tom Atkins from some of the John Carpenter films. Yeah, I would highly recommend that. Really good fun horror. Got a good bit of atmospheric tension to it. Bit of mystery. Yeah. They're very good. Yeah, and then there's 2 and 3. I don't own 3. I did own 3 on I had it downloaded. The thing is, also when I used to buy DVDs, some of these weren't actually out on DVD, so you may be able to get episode 3 on DVD now. So that's those. Critters, or as it's actually said in the film, Criters. I always find that amusing. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4. But there may be more than that. One of these, I think the second one, no, the third one is Leonardo DiCaprio's first film. Yeah. Or his first hit film. Leonardo DiCaprio's first hit film is the third and most outrageous installment of the classic cult tale of infamous Critters. They are little aliens that come down to Earth to, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the plot to these that much, but yeah, I would recommend these. They're good films. They're good fun films to watch. Yeah, definitely worth a watch. And there may be 4 of them now, but I'm not sure. And then we got the Hellraiser films, which you gotta love the Hellraiser films. Based on Clive Barker's book. Clive Barker actually directed the first one. May have written the second one. I don't think he directed the second one. Yeah, based on his book. I've never read the book though. What's it called? A Telltale Heart or something like that? I may be wrong about that. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. First one, absolutely brilliant. Second one, alright. These Peter offers are gone. I think there's 10 or 12 of them now. This is the first 3. At the point when I bought this was all you could really get. You could probably get a box set now, I don't know, of most of them. I know that the girl from the first 2 features in something like the 7th one for a little bit and then gets killed off. Sorry for the spoiler. You're not going to care. And I know one of them that I watched years and years and years ago. I think it was on Bravo, when there was a channel called Bravo. They featured one of the Hellraiser films on there. Maybe like the 5th or 6th one, something like that. And basically the whole entire film revolves around a detective investigating a murder where you do not see the lament configuration, I don't think, and you see the Cenobites at the end of the film for like 30 seconds. So yeah, fucking rip-off. Yeah, but the majority of especially the first two, and the first Hellraiser film is a must-see for a horror fan, I think. And then the second one has Skinless Julia in it. So yeah, if you know, you know. Here we have the Nightmare on Elm Street films. These are a childhood classic for me. I think childhood, young teenager maybe. I think the first time I did watch a Nightmare on Elm Street film though was, I think I was about 10, and it was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and I remember the bit with the bloke with his veins. Is it a bloke with his veins coming out and Freddy using him like a puppet? Very, very, very imaginative mutilations and deaths in the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I really like these. All of the Nightmare on Elm Street films are really good. I just like the concept of the dreams, because with the dreams you can do a lot of fantasy stuff that you wouldn't be able to do other ways. So they can start doing things that you wouldn't normally see if it wasn't a sort of fantasy dream based environment. Quite a few of these. I've seen the remake as well. Don't bother with the remake. If you're a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street, it's worth watching just to see it. But it doesn't compare to anything Robert Englund does. That isn't all of them again. I think that's 5 of them. There's a few missing there. Yeah, but I would recommend the Friday the 13th. Not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to the Friday the 13th in a second. Nightmare on Elm Street is well worth watching. You could probably get a better box set than that nowadays. So, leading on to now Freddy vs Jason. This is a good film. I quite enjoyed this. I think it still had Robert Englund as Freddy. Don't really know a lot about this in the background of it, who made it. I don't think that Jason was played by Kane Hodder. My favourite person to portray Jason is Kane Hodder. He's really good. He's definitely the best one, and I think he's played Jason the most. Yeah, that's worth watching. So now we're going to the Friday the 13th, and I have most of the Friday the 13th there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think there's the remake I'm missing. I think that's it. I think that's all I'm missing is the remake. So, my opinions on these. I've missed the first one. There's the first one. Okay, my opinion on the Friday the 13th. I would genuinely say most of them aren't that good. They are worth watching for what they are. I don't rate the first one personally, or the second one. Third one, can't even remember what happens. I think the third one's the weird 3D one where all of the deaths are sort of like stabbed at the screen. Yeah, a lot of them I can't even remember. One of them has Corey Feldman in as possibly a young Tommy Jarvis. I do like the character of Tommy Jarvis, especially in the later ones. So, which one is it? This one. So, this is one of my favourite Friday the 13th films. This is part 6, Jason Lives, which has an older Tommy Jarvis in. There's Tommy Jarvis there. That's a really good one, that one. And then part 7, that one goes completely mental and has a bloody bit where it's like a cross between Friday the 13th and Carrie. The woman, the girl in it's got bloody telekinetic powers. Bit mental. I describe these things a bit mental. It's a bloody invincible sort of zombie killer sort of thing. But I like to give a little bit of realism to them. That one's not that good. Jason Takes Manhattan is probably my favourite Friday the 13th film. And these two, which might surprise you. So yeah, Jason Takes Manhattan, watch it. Bloody brilliant. Most of it's set on a boat. And Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Bit of an odd one in that Jason as the hockey mask wearing killer isn't in it for a lot of it because he's transporting his sort of spirit into other people. So a lot of the times the killers aren't. They are Jason, but he doesn't look like Jason. But yeah, that's good. That's different. Talking about things like Freddy and Jason, I do also have the Halloween films, but up there I have a category of John Carpenter films. I'm a fan of John Carpenter, so I've kept those up there. Yeah, and another one of my favourite Friday the 13th is Jason X, the 10th one. A lot of people don't like that. I think it's really good. I think it's really good. And it's a proper traditional Friday the 13th film. It's got all of the elements you want and more. And it's got a bit of sci-fi in it as well. Yeah. A lot of people don't like that one. I do. I think that's great. Okay. We'll do House last. The Evil Dead. I've got 2 copies of The Evil Dead. And I've got the remake here as well. So, sadly, my fancy Evil Dead book, the rubber is disintegrating on it now. But look at that. Look at that. But yeah, the rubber is disintegrating on it, disintegrating a bit now. I even spent so much time that, see all of that writing, I deciphered it all. There it's translated there. And there, I even changed the letters into English. Yeah, no, that's the obsession I had. Ugh. I think this piece of paper tells me, yeah, Evil Dead Easter eggs. So yeah, it's a shame that's disintegrating, but I'll always keep that. I really like that. So, the Evil Dead films, absolutely brilliant. How many are there now? Evil Dead 1, 2 and 3, which is Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, the Medieval Dead. Then you add the 2 series and then 2 remakes. I don't own all of them. There is my Evil Dead. Directed by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell. Absolutely brilliant. Was banned in the UK for a while. I think that's partly what made it famous. It must have been, really. Yeah, uncut version there. Yeah, fucking excellent. Fucking excellent. In all honesty. Evil Dead 2, which is... The Evil Dead 2 is a weird one because it's technically a sequel and remake. So, what it is the first... I can't remember how long, but say the first 15-20 minutes is essentially a quick remake of the first film. And then the second half of this is the sequel to it. If that makes sense. Because it's quite odd when you watch it. You know, oh, that bit doesn't quite make sense. But it does if you think of this as a sort of recap remake of the first one. Just part of it. All of the Evil Dead and everything to do with the Evil Dead is worth watching. So that's the first 2. There's, yeah, the Army of Darkness. Again, bloody excellent. He's time travelled to medieval times in that one. And then I don't own them all, but I've got Ash vs Evil Dead there. I was a bit sceptical when this came out. I thought, oh, is it going to be as good as the films? I'd say it is on par with the films, or even better. This is more gory than the films. I would say some of the gore in this is some of the most extreme stuff I've ever seen. And I have seen some extreme gore. Yeah, bloody great stuff in this. Funny, you know, the Evil Dead films are extremely funny as well. Funny, gory, violent, just what you want, really. Yeah. And it's got some new characters in it. Kelly and, I can't remember his name now. Pablo. Yeah. So that's that. And then I've got the Evil Dead remake there. Now, my opinion on the Evil Dead remake is it's a good film. And in a way, it's better than the original, but not. if you had to say which one I would prefer, it would be the original Evil Dead. But this isn't. This is nothing like the original Evil Dead. It's only like the original Evil Dead in its very basic premise. As in, going to the cabin, finding the book, and all that. Other than that, it's nothing really like the original one. There's no comedy in this. This does have some great gore and violence in as well, though. Yeah, I would recommend it, but it's a completely different film to the original. Don't expect it to be a, what do they call it? A reboot, remake? I hate those names. I actually class this more of a sequel, because you could class this as... It's not a remake. I don't think it is a remake. I think it's either possibly a different cabin or the same cabin but at a later date. Because it's established now that there are 3 Evil Dead books as well. So, yeah, not really a remake at all. So that is... Oh no, we got House. Oh, God. And I don't know a lot of people who have seen these House films. Okay, House 1, 2, 3 and 4. The only one I don't think is very good out of all these is House 4. Okay, hopefully there's a little booklet in here that I can show you some of the things. So, the House films. They aren't... Well, 1 and 4 are connected. All the rest aren't. They're all basically just revolving around... I say very loosely, a haunted house. They're a lot more than that. The first one revolves around a bloke called Roger Cobb. He is one of the actors in Carrie. The bloke who goes to the prom with Carrie's him. Anyway, Roger Cobb inherits his aunt's home. The house is haunted. His aunt killed herself there, and his son disappears in the house, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Sean Cunningham either directed it or wrote it, I think. But yeah, they're all based around not the same house, but yeah, Sean Cunningham produced it. He used to produce quite a few horrors, I think, back in the sort of 80s. The second one revolves around the house that all I remember is there's a bit with their dead cowboy ancestor comes back looking for a skull or something. The third one is about... It's got Lance Hendrickson in it, and he's a policeman who captures this notorious serial killer who goes around killing people with a big old meat cleaver. And the killer is executed. This is all happening at the beginning of the film, but manages to sort of come back, sort of in your dreams, but he can kill you. Yeah, that's a very good film, the third one. They all are. I would recommend, if you've never seen the House films, or if you have seen them, let me know. Also, if you've seen anything I'm talking about, let me know. Yeah. But I'd like... House 4... It's actually making me feel slightly thinking about it now. Okay. House 4 is a sequel to the first one. House 4 probably has one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my entire life in a film. And it's nearly making me gag just thinking about it. As far as I remember, this little midget bloke, dwarf bloke, pukes in a cup and someone drinks it. And at the time, yeah, it's making me feel ill just thinking about it. Yeah, I remember always being fascinated by these hands on the VHS covers. I think that's the original one on the VHS cover, because there's a different one on the front. It wasn't that one. That's not quite as good. But yeah, I'll always remember that, and the worms and maggots coming out of the rotting flesh. That always attracted me to the VHSs in the video shop. Okay, that is my horror franchise films. Let's now move on to the Stephen King and zombie films. Right, so now we're on to zombie films and Stephen King films. that is what I fit up on that shelf there. There probably may be some zombie films that you may see later on, I'm not sure. I can't remember at this point, but these was the majority of the ones, and especially the sort of classics. There's a lot of zombie films I don't own. It was saturated with zombie films at one point, and I just didn't watch them. I think probably the most modern zombie films I would have watched on when I was watching them as they came out would probably be one of George Romero's later ones. That's it really, which was possibly Land of the Dead. What was the one, the found footage one? That one. Anyway, let's get down to them. So, I've got most of the classics. So, the original, that's the original Night of the Living Dead, and the remake. And I actually think the remake is slightly better than the original. Without the original, a lot of the zombie films you get nowadays wouldn't even exist. But yeah, a lot of people slate the Tom Savini one, but that was done with George Romero's blessing. He even asked him to do it. I think George Romero was going to remake it himself, but then he just got Tom Savini to do it. If you don't know who Tom Savini is one of the greatest special effects sort of prop makers there's ever been. And a lot of your favourite horrors will have had his special effects in, including most of Dawn of the Dead. And also he taught people like Greg and Nicotero and that, the ones who do KMB, they learnt from Tom Savini. Tom Savini did all the special effects for Creepshow, stuff like that. But yeah, so Tom Savini directed the remake of Night of the Living Dead with George Romero's blessing or even instruction. Yeah, great film. Probably don't need to buy it on DVD nowadays. You can get it on YouTube for free. But yeah, that's a Tartan DVD as well. I only mention that because I was looking through my DVDs to see which Tartan films I had. More terrifying than Hitchcock's Psycho. If you don't know about Night of the Living Dead, it is probably the origin of the modern zombie. There's been loads of zombie films before, but the traditional brain-eating sort of zombie. Yeah. There have been other zombies before, but this was the one that sort of made it popular, I think. Really popular. So there's those two. And I do own... Okay. Better go over the Dawn of the Dead and the Dawn of the Dead remake. My opinions on those. Most of these films have been remade now, haven't they? Dawn of the Dead original, Dawn of the Dead remake. That one is much better than that one. Don't get me wrong though, this isn't a bad film, but there's a lot of shit in it. The action's good, but they make... I don't like that sort of film trope of making you hate most of the characters in films. I cannot stand that. I want to like the characters and hope they live, not spend all day hoping they die. You don't have to excuse me if I look like I'm covered in dust as well, because I literally am, because a lot of these DVDs I haven't had time to clean them. Yeah. One of the best zombie films ever made, Dawn of the Dead. I think there are multiple versions of them as well. There is a long version. That's the director's cut, which may be the slightly longer version, and I think there's an even longer version than that. And this one revolves around them being stuck in a shopping mall, basically, shopping centre. So it's a good, fun thing to watch, and you imagine what you would do in that situation. Quite funny as well. Oh, also, I'll tell you one thing. The audio commentary to this, featuring Tom Savini, is good. Brilliant. Yeah, I don't know if there's... I don't think there's a George Romero one. But yes. So, Tom Savini's audio commentary for this is hilarious and brilliant. Tells you all about the special effects, stuff like that, the making of the film. Yeah, this was 139 minutes long. Yeah. Brilliant film. The remake. It's certainly not a bad film, but there are lots of bits in it that I don't like. I don't like that it makes you hate a lot of the characters. but the action's good, and there are plenty of likeable characters in it. I think that's a director's cut as well. I don't know how long that one's on for, but yeah, I certainly wouldn't say miss it. Do watch it. I think the original's better though. So that's the Dawns. Then we've got Day of the Dead, which has been remade now. That one features Bub. And again, yeah, that's a good one. I don't think it's as good as the others. The first... Well, for me personally, if I was going to watch the Living Deads in sort of category of best to worst, I would actually watch the remake first. So, remake of the first one's probably the best one for me. Then the original. Then the original Dawn of the Dead. And then this. Yeah, Day of the Dead's really good. This one revolves around them being in a sort of nuclear bunker. And two sort of different groups of people who hate each other. And then we've got Land of the Dead. Which, yeah, I always enjoyed Land of the Dead. Well worth a watch. Progresses the story on in that the zombies are... Some of them are a little bit intelligent and aren't as brain dead as it may seem. Yeah. That's got a couple of weird bits in it. That a bit cringy and a bit odd, but yeah. I think that's the one that features at least Simon Pegg in a cameo. Is Nick Frost in it as well? In the caged up bit? I think they're both in that. So going from that, we may as well go to Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead. A romantic comedy with zombies, right? Some people claim it to be the first romantic zombie comedy. I call bullshit on that. I know which fucking film was. Yeah. I don't think Edgar Wright would claim it was. If it was him who made this one. He knows what the original rom-com was, and it was not this. Fucking brilliant film though. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely love Shaun of the Dead. And off the top of my head, thinking about it, probably the best English zombie film there is. Unless I'm missing something there. But it's nice to have a proper English, UK based zombie film. And it's funny as well. Yeah, the extras on this are good as well. The bit where you can watch the, what was it? Yeah, the plain version of it, or whatever it is, you know, the censored plain version, or parts of it. Yeah, I think that's it anyway. Yeah, brilliant film, gotta love that. I always liked Simon Pegg and Nick Frost from Spaced as well, which you'll see later. And Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright's a good director. Right, so we have here a couple of the Resident Evil films. And I do like those. They go a bit mental later on, but again, they are just gun, gore sort of porn later on. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to understand they are what they are. These two are good, and they did follow the games to a degree. I am a big fan of the games. I think I've played nearly all of the Resident Evil games. Not all of them, there are a couple of obscure ones I haven't played. But I've played nearly all of them, including all the recent remakes. Love them. And these two are good. And I would own all of them, I've just never got round to it. How many is there now? 7? And I do like Alice's character. I think she's great. And Mila Jovovich, great actress, really like her. Yeah, a decent film. I would own the rest if I could get them. So let's go on to The Return of the Living Dead. So I've only got the first one and the third one here. Now these come from the bloke who produced, I think, or co-wrote Night of the Living Dead. Something with whoever created them with George Romero. They both split off in their own different ways. So George Romero went on to do his Night of the Living Dead things, and this bloke, I can't remember who it is, went on to do his Return of the Living Dead series. Slightly different zombies. These ones are sort of addicted to brains, and they can talk and they can think, and they're reasonably intelligent. Both of these and the second one are really good films, actually. If you've never seen them, well worth seeking them out. Yeah. That one's got a good nude scene in as well. I think people like. Yes, and Return of the Living Dead 3. Metallic's one of Metallic's favourite films. She really likes that. Yeah. I don't really want. You know me. I don't really like trying. I don't like spoiling the plots, but yeah, they are what they are. And highly recommended if you haven't seen them. Yeah, definitely watch at least the first, second, or third Return of the Living Dead. They are great. Right, let's do that one in a minute. Right. Undead. Sorry, the bloody dust's getting me a bit now. So, a cross between Shaun of the Dead and Bad Taste. I was searching out zombie horror films that are supposed to be good and came across this. Now this is, at the time, I think this was their first film. This is a Spearig brothers film. Now they've gone on to do they did one of the Saw films. They did, what's that vampire film with Ethan Hawke in it? I can't, oh God, I can't. Daybreakers, I think it's called, something like that. They went on to do some quite famous films. This was their first one. Yeah, for a triple-barreled shotgun there. And it's not bad. It's worth watching. If you are a fan of your zombie films, I would definitely say watch it. It's not the best film I've ever seen, but it's worth it. It's worth watching. It's got all the sort of zombie tropes in it. I'm just trying to show you the pictures there. You can't really see them. Yeah, good bit of action. There's a bloke cut in half there. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Yeah, got some good gore. Actually, it's only 15. That surprises me. Set in, I can't remember if it's Australia or New Zealand. Can't actually see it say on there anywhere. But yeah, quite a rare one that I don't know anyone who's ever seen that. No one I know has ever said to me, "Have you ever seen Undead?" Okay. Now for the original rom-com, in my opinion anyway, and probably one of the greatest zombie films and zombie comedies ever made. There's nothing better than this. I don't think anyway. I don't think there's anything better than this. So, Brain Dead. Peter Jackson's Brain Dead of all people. Or also known as Dead Alive in America. Revolves around the premise of a Sumatran rat monkey being brought back to New Zealand, I think, and when it bites people, they turn into zombies, essentially. Yeah, it's a good little concept. Amazing gore. At one point, I think the remake of The Evil Dead has beaten it now, but at one point, this film held the world record for the most blood ever used on a film. Yeah. And it definitely has a romantic element to it. 100%. Yeah. Bad Taste and Brain Dead. Absolutely love those two. Yeah, good old Peter Jackson. I hope he goes back to doing these kind of films. But I have probably seen this 60, 70 times. We used to watch it every night at one point. Yeah. Absolutely love it. Yeah. Definitely watch Brain Dead. Okay, now we're on to the Stephen King films. Oh no, we're not. We're not on the Stephen King films yet. Got Zombie Flesh Eaters. Can't tell you a lot about that. It's a good film. I don't really know much about the background of it. Well worth watching though. And it does have a zombie fighting a shark underwater. So there's one reason to watch it. Then we've got 28 Weeks Later and 28 Days Later. That is both of them, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, they're good. That's a slightly different premise on your zombie apocalypse. Not really zombies, sort of rage-filled sort of beings. Yeah, I think they're going to do a new one of these soon, aren't they? 28 years later, I think. Yeah, they are well worth watching, and another good British zombie film. There's no comedy in these per se, but yeah, really good films they are. Danny Boyle, weren't they? I think the first one anyway, was it Danny Boyle? Yeah, Danny Boyle. Yeah, that was Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle's films are normally good. They don't own many of his though. So now we'll get on to the Stephen King films. Now some of these I've read books on. Some of these I've read the books of. Some of them I haven't. I won't go over all of these. I'll go over the ones that I really like though. So Carrie I really like. Haven't actually read the book to Carrie yet. That was Stephen King's first. Yeah, it was his first. It wasn't his first book, but it was his first published book that it made it. That was the book that made him famous. There are a couple of versions of Carrie, and a lot of people don't know this. I think there's 4 versions of Carrie. Have I got the other one here? Hang on, where is it? But there is this one, the Chloe Moretz one, the made-for-TV one, and then there's a sequel, and I think there may be another one. Yeah, Carrie's good. Yeah, very good film that. So Carrie. Where is the other one? I'll have to. Oh, there's under there is Rage 2, which is sorry, Rage Carrie Part 2, which does actually follow the story on. It's not a Brian De Palma film though, but it does actually have. I don't know if there's a. It does have one of the characters, or a couple of the actual characters from the original film. Original Carrie with the actual same actress as well. So there's that. Yeah, I think the other Carrie films I had were on my hard drive. I haven't read either of these two. Firestarter and Dead Zone. Again though, really good. 1408 I have read. 1408 is pretty good. No films are ever as good as the books, but this is actually pretty much very accurate to the story. I think it may have a slightly different ending. Other than that, it's pretty much identical, which is quite rare. But then it's not a full book, I don't think, 1408. I think it's a novella, so you can actually get that all in a film. Then we've got Misery. Fucking brilliant film that is. Rob Reiner, James Caan, Kathy Bates. The only thing I know about that, I haven't read the book to that one. I know that how she hobbles him in this is actually worse in the book. Dreamcatcher, not read that one. That's good. The Running Man. This is quite a lot different to the story, and the story was written by Stephen King under his pseudonym, which is. What's his? Richard Bachman, I think. Yeah. This is a Bachman book, technically, but it is written by Stephen King. That's really good. I'm a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that is a childhood favourite of mine. Let's move these over a bit. So, now we come to The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, and a Stephen King produced Shining made by Mick Garris. Okay, we'll go over the Stanley Kubrick one first. So this is one of the best horrors ever made. Is it a good adaptation of The Shining though? Not really. As in, is it accurate to the book? No, not at all. Does it follow the premise of the book? Not really. Does it have the same feeling of the book? No. But it's one of the best horror films ever made, and I do like it, don't get me wrong. Yeah, but it doesn't have the same feeling as the books. The thing is, and I have read The Shining. In The Shining, Jack isn't noticeably mental at the beginning, whereas he pretty much is from the beginning of this. You can tell he's not fucking right from the very beginning. But then that's not how he's supposed to be portrayed. He gradually starts falling back into his addictions and his bad ways, because the hotel is doing it to him, trying to get him to kill his family, basically. Whereas, yeah, the Jack in that one always seemed a bit funny from the beginning. So, and Stephen King, I don't really... He said it was all right. I think he liked it for the film, but in regards to the story, it's not quite right. Mick Garris has done quite a few Stephen King films. I couldn't tell you what, but I know he's done quite a few. So they made a little mini-series, Stephen King's The Shining, where he actually uses the correct weapon, not an axe. That's not a croquet mallet either. It looks like one, but it's a different thing where they're bigger. I can't remember what it was now. And this one is very, very, very accurate to the book, to the degree that if you've read the book and you watch this, you actually think you've seen it before, because it's very, very much similar. It has the proper feeling of the book. And I really like this. I genuinely do. It's it's a lot lower budget and all that, and yeah. There's Stephen King doing a cameo there. There's the lady in the bloody room 237, whatever. 217. I can never remember if it's 2. Is it 217? Yeah, no. Yeah, room 217. Oh, I thought it was 237. Maybe they've changed it in this. I don't know. That's confused me now. Anyway, yeah. If you're a fan of Stephen King, watch this. So, let me go on about Stephen King films as well. So, the thing with Stephen King films, these aren't necessarily really anything to do with Stephen King, other than they are copied on his books. They don't necessarily have any input from Stephen King. Now, that one did. Stephen King actually did the teleplay for that and produced it. And he's in it. Whereas some of them really have nothing to do with him other than they're just based on his books. Now, let me find the other two. Okay. It and It Chapter 2. This one, which is the mini-series, I think it runs for about 3 hours, doesn't it? Always loved this. Low budget mini-series, but it had some good acting and really good atmosphere. And I have read the book to it, and this and those two are both missing bits. And partly why I actually prefer this one, I just prefer the feel of this one. Pennywise is a lot scary in this one. I find the bloke who does Pennywise in that is slightly laughable and not scary. When he's got one eye pointing that way, one eye pointing that way, making noises like Scooby-Doo, it's not really scary. Yeah. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And so both the films are missing things because that is a very big book. It is. Both of them are missing parts, but these have added things that aren't in the books. So for that, I would actually prefer this one. I'd rather have stuff missing than stuff added that isn't in it. Yeah. I've watched that multiple times. Absolutely love it. Well worth watching. So these ones, I actually watched that in the cinema. Don't get me wrong, they're pretty good films, and maybe the younger generation of people might prefer these, because a lot of people don't like the dated stuff. But I don't know. There's something about that one. I just think the atmosphere is better in that one. But I don't think the bloke, which one of the Skarsgårds, isn't it? Bill Skarsgård, maybe. I don't know. I don't think he's his portrayal of Pennywise is not scary to me, and yeah, it basically sounds like Scooby-Doo, and he's got one eye pointing that way, one eye pointing that way, and it looks shite. And he also doesn't look anything like Pennywise is kind of supposed to, whereas that one does. But yeah, I don't know. I've still got them, and I still watch them. Shawshank Redemption, one of the best films ever made. I think that is still the top film on IMDb. Well worth watching. Haven't read the book to that one. Cujo, haven't read the book to that. Again, that's good. That's about a dog with rabies that's attacking a mother and her son in their car. Hearts in Atlantis. That's good. Stars Anthony Hopkins. That has a connection to the Dark Tower. Talking about the Dark Tower, I would never own or watch the Dark Tower film ever. I've read the books to that. They're my favourite books ever, and I would never watch those films. That film. This has a connection to that in a way. Yeah. That's good. Cell, I watched recently. I didn't really rate it very much. It was nowhere near as good as I was hoping it would be. Samuel L. Jackson, John Cusack. I haven't read that either. Not very good. I don't know. Yeah. No, it wasn't. Didn't it? Honestly, it wasn't. The Mist, very good. I'd definitely recommend that. Frank Darabont. He's done a couple of Stephen King films. That has a connection to the Dark Tower as well. Now, these three I haven't actually watched yet. This one isn't even open, so I can't really tell you much about these, other than that is the sequel. I own the book to this, I haven't read it yet. Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining. 11/22/63, haven't read the book to that. That is about the bloke who can time travel, and I think he tries to stop JFK murders. And another one that's not opened is A Good Marriage. I don't know anything about that. And we've got Cat's Eyes, which is I think it's a trilogy. I think there's 3 on there, maybe more, of stories. I think, did they all revolve around? No, this isn't one where they all revolve. There's a set of books of Stephen King's or stories that all revolve around smoking, and I thought that was this one. It wasn't. Yeah. This has got, I can't remember how many stories are in it, but that's worth watching. What does a stray cat have in common with a radical technique to quit smoking, the window ledge of a skyscraper, and an evil goblin? 3 of Stephen King's most imaginative tales are brought to life in a chilling collection of short stories. Yeah, well, worth watching that. I do like Cat's Eyes. Sometimes They Come Back. I haven't read that one. I think that's a short story. It's about a school teacher whose younger brother was killed in a car accident, and so was his younger brothers and bullies. And then suddenly, years later, when he goes back to the town, the bullies are there. They're alive, but they're dead. Yeah. I think that's based on a short story. That's a really good film, actually. I really like that. But because I liked that one, I found out there were sequels. I bought those. They're shit. They're crap. They are crap, but, you know, they are what they are, and they are sequels to Once Upon a... Sometimes They Come Back, and he said Once Upon a Western. Okay. Silver Bullet, werewolf film, stars Gary Busey, I think. Yeah, that's good. So, The Stand. Now, I've recently watched the remake of this. This one's better. The remake stars... The only person I know in it is Amber Heard. She's in it. There are other famous actors. There's a Skarsgård in that, playing Randall Flagg. Nowhere near as good as Jamie Sheridan in this one. I've read The Stand. This has more of it in than... So this one is 6 hours long. I think the remake was 9 or 12 hours long. Not 9 hours long. This one has more of the plot in it than the other one. Yeah. This is good. This is good. I really like The Stand. Quite accurate to the book. That what I think they had to make a couple of characters into one. And there's a couple of bits missing. But other than that, there's no added stuff. The only good thing about the remake, or the new version, was the very last episode has... personally written by Stephen King, and it's the ending he would have liked to have added to the book originally, so that's not in this one. Doesn't add much to it though anyway. In fact, it's a bit odd, but yeah, great film. And that might be... That's Mick Garris. That's a Mick Garris one. Yeah. Mick Garris did do a fair few of the Stephen King things. Salem's Lot, I've not read that. Oh, and also, that's got a major connection to the Dark Tower. This one does as well. Yeah, Salem's Lot. I think there's different versions of this. So, this is a vampire film. Salem's Lot, you get this film version, which... Now, I may be wrong about this, and tell me if I am. I think this film version is basically a shortened down version of a multi-part sort of TV series, miniseries. Because I've definitely seen this with more of it in it. Anyway, saying that. But I'm not sure. Yeah, just over 3 hours long. But I'm pretty sure I've seen something with more in it. And yeah, but that's good. That's very good. David Soul, I think, is in that one. And classic, what's that bloody vampire's name? Can't remember his name now. But yeah, it's well worth watching. I have to wipe my nose. Right, where is my... Oh, you know what? Still haven't got round to buying it. So, one of my favourite Stephen King films ever would be Creepshow. And I still don't actually own Creepshow on DVD. I own Creepshow 2. So the original Creepshow was directed by George Romero, stars partly Stephen King and a load of other famous actors, and all of the special effects were done by Tom Savini. I don't think Stephen King's in this one. This one has, I think, 3 stories in it. The original one has 5. Highly recommend the original Creepshow. This one's pretty good. There is a third one. I wouldn't really recommend that. There may even be another one. Yeah. Horror compilation, but it's good, it's well worth watching. Secret Window, I have not read that. That's alright though. Yeah, it's worth a watch. Not much to say about that one. Johnny Depp. So, Night Flyer, starring Miguel Ferreira. I've never read this. Miguel Ferreira is actually one of my favourite actors. He sadly died 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more. And he's a tabloid journalist who... Have you ever heard of the National Enquirer? He sort of does stuff for like that kind of thing, really terrible sort of made up shitty stories. And he finds out that there's potentially some killer going around in a plane, keep going to airports killing people. So he's investigating that, but it progresses and gets worse and worse and worse. And there's a little clue to the plot. There's old Miguel there. A really good actor he was, and quite likeable, I always found. Graveyard Shift, again, I've never... Someone's at the door, hopefully someone else that. I've not read that. That is about some people working in a factory that is infested with rats. That scene actually isn't in the film. But yeah, that's a really good concept, very interesting. Well, I may have to go and answer the door in a second if no one answers it in a minute. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll be back in a second. Right, I'm back. Where was I? Yeah, rat-infested factory. But it turns out there's maybe more than rats in it. But yeah, if you've never seen that, I'd highly recommend that. Great film, that is. Who made that one? Ralph Singleton. Never heard of him. Yeah. Okay. Stand By Me. Probably one of my favourite Stephen King films. Favourite childhood film. Absolutely loved this. When this came out and I watched it, I was about the same age as these boys. It made me do similar things. Me, my brother and our mate used to go out we would just pack a bag with maybe a bottle of water and just fuck off all day long in summer holidays, not come back till it was dark. I absolutely loved sort of trying to replicate things that they did in this. Haven't read the book to this one either. I've read quite a few. I've read over 20 Stephen King books, I'd say, maybe more, maybe 30. But it just so happens most of these I haven't read them to. Yeah, yeah. If you've never seen that, you're missing out, I think. Corey Feldman, River Phoenix, Will Wheaton, Jerry O'Connell. some young lads going on a trip to find a dead body that they've heard potentially there, and maybe get famous. Children of the Corn. This is a box set of the first 3. There's loads of these now. They're probably getting on for 10 of these, I'd suspect. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's probably getting on for 10 of these, maybe, and remakes. The first one stars Linda Hamilton, and it's quite a scary... Put it this way, I remember watching Children of the Corn. I was about, I don't know, maybe 10, and it was on late at night, and I had the telly on. And the bit at the beginning where they run the boy over, and then there's the jump scare, scared the shit out of me, and I turned the telly off and then couldn't get to sleep. Second one, I can't even remember what happens, and I know the third one has one of the actors from that Vietnam War film, Tour of Duty. It wasn't a film, it was a TV series. There's a TV series called Tour of Duty. One of the actors from that, the main actor from that, is in Children of the Corn 3. Haven't read any of those. The Green Mile, that was the very first book I ever read. Absolutely amazing film. Very, very close to the book. Well worth watching. If you've never seen that, you're missing out, I think. Bloody amazing film. Maximum Overdrive, which was maybe the only film that Stephen King has ever directed. Because a lot of people think, because all these say Stephen King's blah, 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 blah. He doesn't direct them. He did direct this, though. Written and directed by Stephen King. He features in it at the beginning. A lot of people... This is based on a story called Trucks. And there is actually a film called Trucks. A lot of people slate this. I actually think this is a really good film. It's funny. It's got a good sort of emotional bit to it. I genuinely like it. I think Maximum Overdrive is a really good film. But a lot of people don't. Yeah. Emilio Estevez is good in it. It's about the Earth passing into a sort of alien field sort of thing in space. Mist type field, energy field that envelops Earth and makes all the machinery come to life. Sleepwalkers. Not all Stephen King things are based on books. I don't know if this one is, but some of them. I say that, I can't remember now. Now I say that. Yeah, anyway. No. Okay, yeah, what I was getting to. So, there's a couple of Stephen King things that he did himself that aren't based on books, which I'll get to in a minute. There's 2 down here. Anyway. Sleepwalkers, that's a good one. It's got Madchen Amick from Twin Peaks. It's about these sort of shape-shifting people who can turn from, like... I think they have a fear of cats, but they also turn into sort of cat-type things. Yeah. Feline origins. But that's good. That's well worth watching, I think. Classic sort of... or typical 90s sort of horror. Pet Sematary, I have read the book to that, and this is very close to it. There's only a little bit missing. This is 100 times better than the remake. Don't watch that piece of shit remake, it's crap. This is the one you want to watch if you want to watch Pet Sematary. About a bloke whose child dies on a busy road, which was actually inspired by an event that sort of nearly happened to Stephen King, or he lived near a very busy road and used to imagine the potentially his son getting run over, and then the son dies, and then the old bloke next door shows them the Pet Cemetery that seems to bring things back, but not as they should be. Tested it on a cat first. Yeah, Pet Cemetery's great. It's very close to the book, that one. The remake, fucking total shit. So, I think all of the ones I'm about to show you now are Stephen King films that aren't based on books that he wrote. So Stephen King's Storm of the Century is not based on a book, but is based on a story that he obviously wanted to make into a film. And this is written by Stephen King. I think this is a mini-series rather than a film. I've only ever watched this twice, and I do really like it. I'd struggle to tell you the plot now, though, but I know that when this thing turns up, he wants to take their children. I think there's a massive storm. This person turns up, who describes himself as Legion. He wants... Basically, the storm will end if he can take one of their children. Yeah, I'd recommend that. That's worth watching. So, Storm of the Century, that is not based on a book. The Golden Years. I don't many people have... Same as Storm of the Century, I don't know many people who have seen that. I don't know many people who have seen The Golden Years. This was quite hard to get. I was recommended this by a woman I used to talk to online who was a fan of a bloke called R.D. Call. She said, "Oh, you ever seen Golden Years?" I don't even know about it. Never heard of it. And it's about a bloke working in a laboratory. Again, this is a foreign version, foreign DVD with English. An experiment happens, and he starts to de-age gradually. So but I don't think he gets. He's not going to turn into a child. He may do. I can't remember. But yeah, extended version, 360-minute DVD. Do not know many people have ever seen that. His body held the secret of time. Now time is running out. So basically, they're hunting him because I think they want to kill him. Right. Rose Red. Stephen King's Rose Red. Again, written by Stephen King. This is not based on one of his books. He wanted to write make a really good classic haunted house horror. A bit like, like I think it's inspired by the Winchester house. These haunted houses with all these secret rooms and passageways and stuff like that. It's based on that. Got a couple of famous actors. One who died recently. I can't remember his name now. English bloke. Julian Sands. Yeah, he died recently, I think. In slightly weird circumstances. I think he was hiking and died. He's quite good in this, actually. Yeah, and it's about psychics and all these other people who go to this haunted house to sort of do experiments. And, yeah, the house sort of starts doing them all over. But I like that. It's low budget. It's not that low budget, but it's not a Hollywood blockbuster type thing. But for what it is, I like it. And then another one that isn't based on one of his books is The Kingdom. This is a TV series. This is one of the best TV series I've ever seen. I absolutely love this. It's originally based on something called Lars von Trier's The Hospital, or Kingdom Hospital. Lars von Trier's Kingdom Hospital. No, The Kingdom. Okay, so yeah, Lars von Trier's Danish miniseries, Rigid, aka The Kingdom. Okay? It's about a really weird, sort of fucked up hospital and an experience of a writer. It's actually partly based on Stephen King's own experience. Stephen King got run over by the bloke in the van, nearly killed him and left him at the side of the road. That's in this. The whole entire sequence of that is in this. Stephen King getting hit by, the writer getting hit by the van. It's the same van, it's got the same dogs in it. And even how the bloke dies, I think, is the same. Potentially, I'm not 100% sure. No, it isn't, because I think... The weird thing is, so the bloke who ran over and nearly killed Stephen King, about a year later, I think, died on Stephen King's birthday. Something like that. Stephen King bought the van. But yeah, that whole entire sequence of real events is actually in this. And then the bloke gets rescued by a supernatural anteater who drags him off the road, and then the anteater is trying to help him come out of his coma. And yeah, it's completely mad and insane and absolutely amazing. Yeah, Kingdom Hospital. So that is it for that pile. Quite a few things to recommend there. Yeah. We shall now go to the horrors up the top there. Right, now we're on to the horror films that was up the top. These are just... Well, they did at one point run from 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, like that, but a lot of them are mixed up now, so we'll just grab whatever there is. So, first one. Hole. It's about a bunch of teenagers who go to spend some time in a... I don't know what it is. Is it a bunker? I don't know. Yeah, underground bunker. It's quite a good film, actually. I quite like that. Who's in that? Thora Birch. Oh, I can't remember her fucking name now. Her. Oh god, what's her fucking name? Yeah, I don't want to say too much about it, but it's got quite a good sort of premise to it. It's a bit unusual. Yeah, they're stuck down this bunker and, you know, are they going mental or is it something else? Desperate to get in, dying to get out. Brilliant, scary. Super scary, brilliant. I'm going to put some of these to the side so I can... I'm running out of space. Cabin Fever, that is Eli Roth, I think. Let me just check that. Yes, Eli Roth. He's good. I quite like Eli Roth stuff. He does Hostel and stuff like that. I can't remember what else he's done, but I do like Hostel. And this is pretty good. This runs along the premise of they've basically been drinking some contaminated water and it gives them a sort of flesh-eating disease type thing, I think. Been a while since I watched this. This has a very funny bit in it. The kid in the shop, or who comes out of the shop, genuinely made me nearly piss myself laughing. It was so funny. Yeah, the fiercest and funniest fright film of the year. Yeah, that's worth a watch. That's well worth a watch, Cabin Fever. I think there's sequels to that. Gothica, and what's that? Halle Berry and Robert Downey Jr. Two actors I don't really rate that much, to be honest. But that's quite a good scary film. But other than that, I can't remember a lot of the plot to that. Penelope Cruz is in it. I know it's in an asylum. But yeah, that's not bad. I certainly don't regret owning it. Dog Soldiers, one of the best werewolf films going, I think. This and what's funny, the two best werewolf films that exist happen to be set in Britain. So you've got Dog Soldiers and the other one is American Werewolf in London, which I don't actually own on DVD. Yeah, 6 Men, Full Moon, no chance. Yeah, what can I say about Dog Soldiers? That's Neil Marshall, I think, who made this one. Yeah, really good. Soldiers in the woods encounter a werewolf, go back to a cottage, and are sort of under siege. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's the basics. But yeah, very good film. Neil Marshall films are often very good. So, Isolation. This stars Sean Harris, I think his name is. Let me just check that. I think you'll know who Sean Harris is now. So at the time, when this came out, I don't think Sean Harris was very famous. Sorry, I can't find it. Yeah, I think it was one of his first films. And it's got a dual sort of story going on. So there is a bloke and his girlfriend in a caravan staying near this farm, but also there's a scientist going to the farm to check out some kind of birth defects or something, or experiments that have caused weird things with a cow. And it is I suppose you describe it as a creature feature. I think that's what they call them. Yeah. A grim, gruesome and gloriously gross horror. That's well worth watching. Yeah. It didn't want to be born, now it doesn't want to die. Isolation. Hostel. I think most people know about Hostel. That is Eli Roth. Good bit of torture porn, but well worth watching and a good premise. Basically, hostelers, these travellers go to hostels and they're kidnapped for people's torturing pleasure. Cabin in the Woods. I don't know who made this one, but this is, well, I don't want to spoil this one, but it appears to be a classic, even modern. I say it is modern, but I mean the premise. It's got the classic concept of a sort of cabin in the woods horror, but also with a lot of modern elements to it, as in they don't make the characters very likeable, but it all gets explained later, and it's got a good mystery element to it. Yeah, groundbreaking and insanely enjoyable. I do like that. Is there any more of those? I don't think I've ever seen any other Cabin in the Woods. I would like to see a sequel to that, though. Might be worth watching. Some reasonably famous actors in there. Don't Breathe. Now, I didn't hate Don't Breathe, but the problem is I don't like the characters in it. Didn't like her. I actually preferred and probably liked the baddie more than these. I thought they were scumbags. And it doesn't matter how much she's trying to help her, her little sister. Going around robbing blind people and shit like that is not the way to do it. There's plenty of other ways you can do it. I know it's just a film, but yeah. The same bloke who made the Evil Dead remake and made some other things, Fede Alvarez. It's not a bad film though, but I couldn't relate to the main characters or like them. But yeah, but that is what happens a lot with films nowadays. Creep, not the found footage American film. This is a film set in London Underground, and a woman being stalked by a sort of creepy sort of freak show type bloke. Yeah. I don't know how to describe that other than very good. Who made this? Christopher Smith, never heard of him. But yeah, ever missed the last train. London midnight on a cold evening, unable to find a taxi, Kate heads to the underground. She takes a seat away from the crowd of late night revellers and waits for the last train. Halfway through the tunnel, the train jerks into a violent halt, the lights shut off and the train is plunged into darkness. Kate screams. She is trapped in the dark and she is not alone. Her nightmare has just begun. Yeah, that's good. That's got Sean Harrison, if that's his name. I'm sure that is his name, though. Yeah, Sean Harris, yes. You wouldn't know he's in it, though, because he's got makeup on. Hereditary. This one is made by Ari Aster. Quite a modern film. Not sure how old, but not that old. Now, some people reckon that Toni Collette should have got an Oscar for this, but because it's a horror film, that's not really an option. I really like this. I know some other people who don't really like it, don't really rate it, but yeah, I think it's bloody brilliant. Honestly, I fucking love this film, and I like most of Ari Aster's other films as well that I've seen. Yeah, genuinely terrifying. Yeah, I don't know, I won't tell you too much about that, but yeah, really good film, Hereditary is, I think, anyway. It Follows. Who made this one? I don't think that's by anyone I know. Yeah, It Follows. Basically, about. Basically, if you have sex with someone who is being followed by the thing that follows them, I think it's an allegory for STDs, STIs, whatever you want to call them. But that's what people say anyway. Anyway, if you have sex with them, this thing will start trying to kill you, and only you can see it. That's the thing. So only the person who it's after can see it, and it will relentlessly follow you. And it can look like different people as well. It's quite scary. I quite like the premise of It Follows, and I think there is going to be a sequel to that. Yeah. Also has one of me and Metallic's favourite scenes in it, and that is the massive pubic fucking fatch, as we call it. Pubic mound. Pube mound. Okay, I'm going to do Martyr's Last for this little pile. So, Heartstopper. I think I was looking up Robert Englund films. I can't remember how I found this. Yeah, I genuinely can't remember how I found it. It's got Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger. Don't recognise the director. That looks like that bloke there, though. Might be an ex-wrestler, but I'm not sure. Nathaniel Stevenson, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, can't remember a lot about that. I know it's set in a hospital with a psychopath, and he either needs your heart or you need his heart, something like that. But I don't know. It's not terrible. It's probably worth watching. But yeah, I can't remember why I bought that. Okay, for this pile, Martyrs. I absolutely love Martyrs. There's a remake of this. Do not watch the remake. It's fucking... Well, I haven't even seen it, but I wouldn't because they changed the ending. And one of the most important things of this film is the ending. I won't say too much about it, but it starts off appearing like it's a traditional horror. Then it turns into a revenge thriller. Then it turns into a sort of torture porn film. And then it has one of the most amazing endings ever, in my opinion. And I couldn't stop thinking about this film when it ended. For a long, like weeks, constantly. And I still sort of think about the end now. Yeah, definitely get the original French version. Don't get the remake because they've changed the ending. And for me, that just completely ruined it. You can't change the ending to this. That's part of the whole part of it. And also, ignore that it's called Martyrs, because I think when people hear the word Martyrs, they assume it's going to be some like religious martyrdom type film. It's nothing like that at all. Nothing like that at all. It begins with a young girl who has been abused and she escapes, and she later goes out to exact revenge on the people who were torturing her as a child. That's the basic premise of it, but there's a lot more to it than that, but I don't want to spoil it for you. But this is part of the French extreme genre of films. There's a few of these. There's one here somewhere called Satan or Shaitan in French. There is Switchblade Romance, stuff like that. They're extreme, very extreme basically. Yeah. Watch Martyrs, it's fucking excellent. I have no idea how long this video's been going on for. I'm actually getting a bad back doing it though. This may be, you will know by the title if this is part one of many, because what I'm going to be using these for are premieres for when I can't live stream. So maybe this will be part one and part two will be another day. So, but I will definitely do all this part for this video. So, The Witch. This is a reasonably new one. Starring, oh, what's her bloody name? Half this writing is too small for you to read. Oh, I can't remember her bloody name now, but her. You can better see her now. Yeah, this is set in, I thought that said the date then, 1630, on a little sort of farm where, is there a witch, isn't there a witch? It's a lot better than that. Yeah, a New England folktale. Yeah. That's well worth watching. So I'm still trying to focus on what that girl's name is, but I can't bloody remember. Hang on. It's going to drive me mad if I don't look. Anya Taylor-Joy, that is it. It's going to drive me mad if I don't find out. Yeah, one of her early films. It's got Ralph Innes as well, which was Finchy from The Office. But they're all good actors in it. But yeah, the newborn baby disappears, and then they start suspecting, was it the girl? Is there a witch? Blah 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 blah. Very good film that. Okay. Feed. I don't know many people have seen Feed. This is about a bloke who likes to go around basically stuffing people, women, with food until they die. And then there's policemen trying to find out who's doing it. Yeah, laced with a deep vein of dark humour and brilliantly ironic use of hit pop songs, Feed is guaranteed to disturb and entertain in equal measures. Yeah. That's a good film, that is. It's got some good extras on there as well, as far as I remember. I can't remember if this is... If I remember right, I don't think this was... I got this weird memory that it's not American. It might be European, but not Not English. It's definitely not English. But I may be wrong about that. I can't remember. But yeah, Feed's well worth watching. We've got two very old David Cronenberg films here. Now, I'm a big fan of David Cronenberg, but these aren't his best. Shivers and Rabid. They're very old ones. They're worth a watch if you're a David Cronenberg fan, but there's a lot better than these two, put it that way. But yeah, I couldn't even tell you the plot to those two. Now, for the film I've probably watched the most in my entire life, Bad Taste. Absolutely love this film. It has inspired a lot of the Spyrophiles and stuff like that. And yeah, the fact that this was made on very, very low budget, on, I think, weekends they used to film this, him and his mates. Peter Jackson actually plays multiple characters in the film. And I watched this film probably 100 times, and it wasn't until I watched the documentary that I knew that he was doing two different characters, because you can't tell it's him. He did all the special effects. He made some of the guns. The Sterling submachine guns, he made those. Yeah. So, Peter Jackson actually plays Derek there, and the other, the blue-shirted alien with the beard and long hair. That's Peter Jackson as well. They did everything. They did the music. Yeah. Absolutely loved that film. People of a weak disposition should not watch this feature. Big influence on me. I absolutely love that. I've probably seen that more than any other film ever. Right, back. I had to stop the camera for a second. House on Haunted Hill. That is a remake of a, I don't know if it's a Hammer horror or not. I can't remember now. That's good. I do like that one. Couldn't tell you a lot about it nowadays though. William Castle 1958 horror classic. But yes, I would definitely recommend that. I do like that. I always liked House on Haunted Hill. I've not seen the original though, so I don't know how it rates with that. Candyman, they've done a couple of sequels to this. Maybe 2 sequels and a remake. I saw the remake. Oh, the remake was okay. This was better though. Yeah, there. I don't know what to say about Candyman. I don't know a lot about it, but I know I liked it and it's good. You don't need to see the remake. I don't understand why they make remake films that don't need remaking. Okay. This is probably the second most film I've ever seen. I don't know a lot of people have seen this. It has no Western connection. Revenge of Billy the Kid. Made by Jim Groom. It's got one or two reasonable... No, I think at least one known actor. Which was the Farmer Giles character there. Yeah. Oh, bloody hell. Yeah. Old MacDonald had a farm, and on that farm he had a goat. Yeah, he had a goat. Basically what happens is, they're on this island, and it's decrepit, and you know the house has fallen down, and they've got no money, and he's got to go and sell the goat. But on the way to sell the goat, he decides to have sex with the goat, and the goat gives birth to a half human, half goat thing that he tries to kill, and then it grows up very rapidly and sets out to kill the family. It is fucking amazing. Yeah, the dirtiest film in the history of British cinema. A certain cult favourite. Yeah, made by Jim Groom, who I would like to watch more of his stuff, but I think he's only ever made one other film, and that film costs about 30 quid on eBay. And I can't find it anywhere else. Yes. The Revenge of Billy the Kid. If you haven't seen it, and you like comedy horror, you're missing out. Tremors, that's a big old classic. Love Tremors. Tremors partly is responsible for my weapon disposal. And if you are looking at it, that doesn't look real. It's, for YouTube purposes, I have to cover them up with a banner of them of their own things. But yeah, what you see there is actually there behind it. So I made the banners so that YouTube can't have an issue with my videos, but also they still look the same, pretty much. Yeah. If you've not seen Tremors, you know, where you been? Quite a few of those now, I think, aren't there? I don't know how many. Probably 7. Yeah. The gun board in that definitely inspired me. Death Watch, can't remember who made that one, but that's got some good actors in. Andy Serkis, Jamie Bell, and others. Yeah, World War One horror. The only sad thing about this film, they had a really good idea for one of the deaths, but they just couldn't do it. But it's in the special effects, in the extras. Yeah. I think I've watched all the extras to this. Maybe listen to the audio commentary. Also, some of these, if I haven't mentioned, do have amazing audio commentaries. The Evil Dead does, yeah. I think I skipped over the Evil Dead, really. So the Evil Dead has an amazing commentary. Let me just look quickly, so I can remember which ones have brilliant commentaries. But definitely the Evil Dead. Anything with Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi has a good audio commentary. All of the John Carpenter ones do. Kurt Russell, but yeah. I don't know if I did actually listen to that one. 13 Ghosts. That's a good film. I do like that. A good premise. I like the idea of the different ghosts and yeah. Again, I don't want to spoil too much. Yeah, that's well worth watching. It's classic. And then we've got Silent Hill, based loosely on the game, I would say. This is a good film, but not very much like the games. But it has enough of the elements to make it good. Yeah, Sean Bean's in this one. Yeah, I do like this. And also, the little girl who's in this is the same girl from Kingdom Hospital, Stephen King Kingdom Hospital. I think it is anyway. Yeah, that's well worth watching. I do like that. I always like that. And Wolf Creek. I still want to watch the TV series of this. I've seen this and the sequel, and there's 2 series. Yeah, this. Who made this? I can't remember his name now. But I know the. Oh yeah, Greg McLean made it, and it's Jeff. Is it Jeff Jarrett? Is it not his name? Or am I getting that wrong? I think that's a wrestler, to be honest. Is the actor? Yeah, based on true events. There was a serial killer in the outback killing people. I think they caught him in the end. It's based on that, loosely based on that. How can you be found when no one knows you're missing? But yeah, yeah, I would highly recommend that. And the second one's pretty good, but this one's a lot better. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do for this video, because I have no idea how long it's been on for now. I'm going to go to this pile, and then we'll save the rest for a later video, because my back is starting to hurt now. I'm getting to the stage where I've had enough. Okay, Terrifier 2. I don't actually own Terrifier 1. Both the Terrifiers are excellent, and Art the Clown, brilliant. These are really gory, some of the best gore you'll see in any films. Art the Clown comes from a thing called, is it Trick or Treat? Or, yeah, I think is it Trick or Treat or Trick or Treat? I don't know, I think that may be something else. Anyway, if I'm wrong, just let me know. But yeah, Art the Clown comes from a Halloween compilation film in one of the stories. Yeah. I don't know what is Art? A supernatural clown? I don't know. But I know he likes to kill people in very imaginative and gruesome ways. Yeah. Horror's greatest clown. I don't know. I'd say Pennywise is probably horror's greatest clown, personally. Vacancy. I can't really remember a lot about that. I think I've only ever seen that once. But I remember thinking it was alright though. I think it's set in a hotel where they're being watched and people are making snuff movies, potentially. Now they... I can't actually remember they. Are You Afraid of the Dark? You Should Be. It's a Wes Craven film. I think this is the one with the bloke having nightmares. After witnessing a horrific and traumatic event, Julia Lund, oh no, I'm on about a different one. A graduate student in psychology gradually comes to the realisation that everything which scared her as a child could be real. And what's worse, it might be coming back to get her. Yeah, so all her fears start manifesting into things that can actually hurt her. Thinking about it, I think I did like that. I know Wes Craven's a bit weird. Sometimes he's really good, and then other times he's a bit sort of average. The Missing, I sadly have no idea what happened in that. I can't remember. I didn't really like it. There are some that I bought, and same with Cursed. Can't remember anything about it. Nope, nothing. So it can't be very good. Roadkill, also known as Joyride, has an alternative ending in the extras that I make sure I've written down in there to watch it. So that says, stop at diner scene about 1 hour in and watch original ending. I think the original ending is actually better. So if you've got the DVD, try that. Right, one of these DVDs need wiping. It's so dusty, it's unbelievable. Okay. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now that is a film. I love this DVD as well. I love that bloody red like that. Yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think, is a great film. Yeah, Toby Hooper's original. Spawned a load of sequels, loosely based on real events and real people. I think Ed Gein, wasn't it? Yeah. I think it's a bloody brilliant film. You've got to have seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you're, this is the original uncut version. If you are a horror fan, you must have seen that. One that's reasonably rare, not a lot of people have seen, is Chopping Mall. Now that's something I watched as a teenager, absolutely loved it. It's about these teenagers who get locked in a shopping mall, and there are these weird robots that are supposed to be guarding the place, and they malfunction and they start killing anyone on sight. But it's good 1980s trashy sort of horror fun. Yeah, well worth watching. Talking about sort of trashy horror fun, Evil Aliens. This is good. Yeah, Jake West's Evil Aliens. I think he does quite a few of these types of horrors. It's got Emily Booth in it. I think this woman here used to be a glamour model potentially. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Morgov and a bomb in a butcher's shop. Yeah, it's, yeah, good. Quite mental. In an attempt to rescue their falling ratings, Weird World presenter Michelle Fox takes a film crew into deepest, darkest Wales to investigate claims of alien abduction. Yeah, and then they do get abducted. Okay, we've got a few more here. Right, I don't think I own... Have I got the others to this? Okay, no, I think the only one I own is this. I've seen all these. It's a basket case. The only one I've got is basket case 3. I thought I did have basket case 1. Apparently I don't. This was the very first DVD I ever bought. Yeah. I bought it from a car boot sale. And I was convinced it was going to be fake. And it wasn't. Yeah, back in the late 90s, I'd reckon. Maybe, I don't know. Basket case. Now, I don't really rate the first one. I think the first one's a bit too low budget and a bit too low made. But it managed to spawn some sequels that are excellent. Basket Case 2, brilliant film. Basket Case 3, not quite as good as the second one, but yeah. It's basically about a man who had a conjoined twin who was cut off, and that conjoined twin is still alive, but basically an insane monster. Yeah, Belial. Yeah, Dwayne and Belial. Basket Case 3, he's got the little babies. Yeah, that's a great film. So then we've got Poltergeist. This is Toby Hooper, I think. Produced by Steven Spielberg. That's rated as a 15 now. I'm pretty sure this used to be rated as a PG. I may be wrong, but quite a scary film. I think it should be a 15. This is the 25th anniversary edition. Yeah, I've seen all of the Poltergeists. I like them all. Don't own them all. Yeah, really good films. Really good films. One of the greatest horror films ever made. The Exorcist. Most people would know about The Exorcist. Yeah. I don't know I don't really know what to tell people about that, other than it's one of the best horror films you will ever see. Go and watch it, enjoy it, buy it. Yeah. Most people would know about that. And then lastly for this pile, maybe this video, will be Scanners. This is one of the really good David Cronenberg films. The thing I like about David Cronenberg, especially in general with his films, is he likes to do at least once a really horrible, graphic, violent scene. And overly graphic as well, so it's shocking. You can watch some of his, not all of them, but nearly all of them will have some fucking horrendous violent bit. Even if the film isn't really particularly violent, there'll be one horrible bit in it. Scanners is about people who I think it was experimented on, and different ones had different powers, I think. I maybe get mixed up with a different film, that maybe Firestar I'm thinking of. Anyway, but basically they can constantly hear people's thoughts, but they can project their thoughts into other people's heads and stuff like that. There's a lot more to it than that, but this has the very famous head explosion scene in it. If you've never seen that. Yeah, there are 4 billion people on Earth. You can tell how old that is. 237 are scanners. They have the most terrifying powers ever created, and they are winning. Cameron Vale is living on the fringe of society, self-induced due to his telepathic ability to read other people's minds. But he can hear them all the time. So if he sits in a crowded room, all he can hear is everyone's thoughts. Darryl Revok has the same condition, and is the head of an underground association of scanners that want world domination. When Vale is taken to Dr. Paul Roof as a result of supposed insanity, he's enlisted into a program that will involve him in a battle against his fellow scanners. But yeah. And also they can take control, so he can make, if a policeman's pointing a gun at him, he can make them shoot themselves, stuff like that. Yeah. Scanners. A lot of the David Cronenberg films are really, really well worth watching. Right, let's call it a day for this video. I've no idea how long it went on for, but I hope it was long, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you've enjoyed your weekend listening to me basically natter on about films. Some that I do know about, some that I don't. So yeah, enjoy your weekend, and hopefully very soon you'll see another part to this. There's a lot more to show. I've still got these 2 piles here, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 of them to go. See how long that's took me already. Alright? Maybe 3 or 4 parts. And then I've just spotted another load there. Alright? Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate it. Don't forget to support the channel. There'll be a little thing at the end of this showing you how to support. And there's probably been some playing the whole time. Alright? Thanks for watching, everyone. See you later. Alright.